Hello everybody, this is Julia with Senior Susie Stamps, and I'm glad you're here today. My friend Maureen encouraged me to make a video of everything that I make, and I've been hesitant to do that, but I can see her point. It's a lot easier to pull a video that you've made just puttering around in the studio and edit it and talk over it sometimes than it is to come up with new material. But I've been working here recently. We did a masterboard, and I started with a piece of grunge. So I started a notebook, and this was the piece that I originally started with. It was just a piece of scrap paper, literally, that I was using to save my board here. And I made a copy of that. And then I did some glue up with some book page and some other pieces that I had created. At any rate, there's a video on this, and I'll try to link that below. But then I went back and I took that a step further and made another masterboard with some washi tape that I had made out of, I think I made it out of copy paper, if I'm not mistaken, and then I did some ink drag on it and what have you. So today I'm going back to a copy of this original piece, and I wanted to do some stencil work today. But before I get started, I want to add a little color to this, and I've pulled out some cerulean blue ink. And I think this is, oh well, I just don't remember at this point where it came from. But I just want to give a little more pizzazz to this piece in a little bit of blue here and there before I even start the stenciling. Now, this is not watercolor paper. It's just some of my basic medium weight cardstock that I can send through the printer. So it is going to warp, but that's okay. I don't mind. If it warps, I can still flatten it out and put it back through the printer to make a smooth copy if I want to do that. I want to add a little bit of book text in here to cover up just a little bit of this grunge before I start doing any stenciling on this piece, because it's just a little too grungy for where I am today. Do you have those days where you're just kind of in a different zone than you were last week? I get that all the time. So at any rate, this is a book page out of a wonderful book called The Wandering Man. It was a memoir of Louis L'Amour, and he was a fabulous writer, and I've always enjoyed his work, but the memoir just totally spoke to me for some reason. And I had an old beat up copy of it, and so I just decided to use some of his work in some of my work, and kind of as a tribute to him, if you will. I'm taking these borders off this book page because I find that they make really interesting little pieces of artwork in my stuff. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm using an old tear ruler that I've had for years. I got it from Amazon, and I'll look up something for y'all to see if you're interested in getting a tear ruler. But when I do collage now, I think I've kind of figured it out a little bit for myself and what I'm comfortable with in the chaos of collage. And my tendency is to work in 3s and 5s and perpendicular. if that makes any sense. And I'll try to kind of show you a little bit here what I'm talking about as we go along. Well, let me just get some book page put down on this piece just for a little extra interest. I'm just going to use some glue and glue it right down, and then we'll get to my stencil and see what I come up with in the studio today. Just kind of playing around a little bit. The channel hasn't stalled. It's still growing slowly, but I don't know. We may be kind of coming to the end of people's interest in it. I'm not sure. You can leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And it's okay either way, but I don't ever want to be boring to people. So, at any rate, I've just noticed a drop off in the number of subscriptions that we've had, new subscriptions, you know, that we've had recently. There we go. So I think I need something over here, and I'm going to put this piece over on that side. And just get my stencils out now. If you don't have a spatter box, an old shoebox really works very well for one. And that's what I've been using, one of John's shoe boxes, because his foot's a little larger than mine is, thank goodness. So you'll see I'm doing perpendicular. It's not going in that way in a planned look, because I think it just works better for me in the way my brain is organized. And you have to do you. But this is this works for me. I don't care if the text is sideways. That doesn't bother me at all, but I just don't like them all mishy-mashy in there. I'll save this. Maybe we'll need a little extra something as we go along today. So I've got some big stencils, and I think I may start with this one just to put a little more background color in. So let me go find some inks that I want to use today, and I'm not really sure where we're going with this, so hang on. I just pulled three: a pink, a kind of a weird yellow, and a blue. It doesn't matter. This may turn out to be too strange to use anyway, I don't know. And I like these little numbers at the top here. So I'm just going to kind of pull this down a little bit. And I don't even think I want to tape this off. I'm just going to use a blending brush and put some ink down and see where we go. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Come on, let's get with it. Now, one thing I will do is to get another plain sheet of paper and pull a little bit of a pickup off of this as we finish with it today. And I'll move it over. There we go. That's interesting. So let's try to do a little bit more. I'm going to switch stencils now. And I think I'm going to use this one. I can't remember if I've used this one with you all before, but I think I have. I'm not positive. And this one I think I may go ahead and tape down. Hang on a minute. I'm just going to get some washi tape here. My washi tape is all pretty old. I ordered some double-sided tape, and it's not come in yet. Maybe it'll come in today, I don't know. Because I think I might like to try to make some of my own washi tape rather than try and replace what I've got because it's gotten old. But that's neither here nor there today. My washi tape has never been very expensive washi, and so it's a little on the cheaper side. And I don't expect it to last forever, never and ever. Okay, let me get a new brush here. I think I'm going to start with the centers of these flowers. And this was a Summer Starfruit stamp pad that I got used, and I put Bumblebee ink over top of it because they were sort of kind of similar, and I didn't have a Bumblebee stamp pad, ink pad, so this is just what we're doing with today. I'll get a little extra ink in these flower centers, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. May need to have a little bit more brightness in the middle, but we'll determine that when we peek underneath this stencil here shortly. Let's see, we've got one more here. And then we'll come back in. Here's another one I missed. Hang on. I'm going to come back in with this polished pink, which is a kind of a magenta color, and see if we can put some pink down on here. I want to add just a little bit more into the very centers of these. I don't know if you can hear her or not, but Lucy's over there just snoring away. She's funny. She comes down to the bottom of the stairs and boo-hoodles and whines until I go to the top of the stairs and say, "Come on, Lucy, let's go upstairs." And then she comes up here with a big grin on her face, climbs in her bed and starts snoring. That's my pup. Oh. I'm just going to use this yellow one because I don't think I need the yellow one again, and I'm not worried too much about it polluting these ink pads. And I'm just going to kind of fade out around these flowers some, and draw in over that yellow just a little bit. I've been making copies of my master boards and using them in some card making this last week. I posted pictures over on the Facebook page, and one of the things that I did was to make a frame in a card out of a 1-inch square punch, and then I had some inchies left over. That was kind of a fun little project. I haven't done much with inchies on this channel, but they're a lot of fun to have to use if you just kind of use your imagination and follow it through a little bit. You can do all kinds of things with them, and I think there's groups around that trade inchies, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with the blue. Did I get blue? Yeah, I did. And I'm going to do these leaves in blue and just kind of see where that goes. There's a flower I missed, 2 of them actually. That's okay. This doesn't have to be complete. I just really wanted to kind of see how the process works over a copied masterboard. 3 more leaves in here. Well, maybe I've got all of them. I guess I'll just put a little extra blue here in the corners, maybe down here. Yeah, there's a leaf right there. Okay, now let's see what we got. Okay, so that has some interest to it, and I'm going to go back and do a little water spritz on my stencils and pull some of this ink up while I'm right here with it. Let me get a full sheet of paper, hang on. And all I'm going to do is spritz water. You've seen me do this lots and lots of times before. I'm just going to spritz some water down and pick up some of that ink so that I don't waste it. Well, it's not so much that I don't waste it. It's because I really kind of enjoy this negative stencil image. And you have to let it sit there for a minute to pick up the ink. Let's see what that looks like. But see, this is very interesting to me. And I'm going to pull my water up off my mat now. And I'll put this in my soaking tray and get the rest of the ink off of that. But I want to do the same thing with this one. And I'm putting a lot more water on it because I want to run it just a little bit. Okay, now I'm almost tempted to put it over top of this one. Probably won't appreciate it once I get it finished, but I'm going to do it anyway. Well, that might be something workable later. We'll see. I'm going to pull just a little bit more of the blue on this original piece that we were working on a minute ago. Yeah, that adds a little more intensity to the blue, so I kind of like that. All right, well, here we go. Now, I'll put these stencils in my soaking box and get them all cleaned up. So, here we've got 2 stencil pieces. This is the reverse and the ink pickup off of the first one, and then this is the original piece that we were working on. So that's all I've got for today. I'm going to maybe do a little more. Well, maybe I should go ahead and film that too. Let's just see. I'm thinking I'm going to do a little black ink stamping on this. Let me go pull some stamps. I'll be right back. This is an old set called Spring Silhouette. It's from Stampin' Up, and it's this stamp right here and that one. And maybe this one particularly. And I'm going to get my VersaFine ink out and stamp right directly on that, just as an intense black counterpoint. Oops. To what's going on here. And get a piece of scratch paper out here. That's a great stamp, isn't it? This is an old stamp. I don't know how old it is. I was going to look it up on the internet. Just to kind of see. So what I'm looking at here is quadrants, just for some extra stamping interest. So if you're looking at quarters, this quarter over here may be needing a little bit more. And that one. And that's about all I'm going to do to that. Now, I also have in that set some birds. Love this little guy. I've gotten hooked on him this week. And I'm just going to put him around in here. Here and there. This is a great way to use an older set, is just have a play with it in your studio on a piece of stuff that you don't care anything about. And sometimes these old stamps will really surprise you with what they are able to give on a piece like this. Okay, I'll save these stamps out to clean them. They've got VersaFine on them. And now I'm going to set this aside and put something over top of it to dry. Now let's look at this one and see. This one, I think I'm going to use this stamp, and I think I'm going to do it in the blue and keep working down my blue theme a little bit more. Yep, I'm kind of liking this. What do you think? This paper is still just a little bit damp, which is okay. I don't care. Kind of like that. I think maybe we need a little bit of ink spatter on that. But I'm going to wait for it to dry up just a little bit more to do that. And I think I may color some of these flowers in. Sorry, I had to take that phone call, and I didn't get the video turned back on right. So that's the way it rolls sometimes. I went back in with this solid stamp after I cleaned it, and some pink ink that matches this ink, actually, that we blended in with the yellow. And then I went back in with an alcohol marker and just filled in a few of these smaller flowers, not all of them, but just some of them, to see how that would look. The thing about pieces like this, when you're working on a larger piece, and this is a full A2 size paper, is it's kind of hard to see what the cut downs are going to look like when you start. And let's take a break for a second and let me tell you about this VersaFine ink that has sat on this stamp now for quite a few minutes. I just sprayed it with some 90% alcohol, and you can see how nice and clean that stamp comes. 90% alcohol is really, really cheap compared with stamp cleaners, and if you take a good sniff of your stamp cleaner, you'll smell a lot of alcohol in it. And then I just go back in with some water with some glycerin mixed in with it, and wipe it down again and kind of pat it dry a little bit, and they usually come nice and clean. And if they don't, I'll just do the process all over again. So there you have it. But so this is kind of the end of what I'll work on today. Just getting a few little backgrounds to work with and see what's going on. Ooh, should we put some blue birds in this one? Wow. Maybe yellow. Let's try yellow. Ooh, I think that'd be fun. Get our little mixed up bumblebee here and do some birds. Oh, okay. Now in the lighter spots, he really kind of shows up, doesn't he? Let's see how he does on the blue. Not so well, but that's okay. We're just making an overall pattern to use for some backgrounds anyway. This does make this paper directional because the birds are all facing up, just so you know. I think I'll do another one, maybe right here. There we are. So now we have two similar but reversed pieces of paper to work with this week. Yesterday I made a stenciled piece out of a masterboard, and then this morning I took it to the copy machine, the printer, the printer, and made a copy of it. So this is what I'm going to work off of today, and you can tell, I hope, that the coloration has changed just a little bit. There's a little more orange to this one, where this one is a little muddier. So that's kind of interesting. Also, it widened it out somehow. Very interesting how that happens on a piece. But so this is the piece we're going to work off of today. This is the second piece that I did yesterday, and I'm not going to fool with that one today. I just wanted to do a little something with this, and I'm kind of liking. I went back in and added just a little bit of ink that was left over on my blending brush here, and you may be able to see I kind of did the quadrants a little bit and just added a little more color to soften the images. When you make a copy of a piece like this, it flattens it out. I don't really know how to describe it than that. In the past, I have taken a little gray ink on a paintbrush and just put a little shadow on some of the pieces that were glued in, and that tends to lift them up a little bit off the page, but I chose not to do that today. So now I'm just going to take this piece and I'm going to cut this white border off first, and I'll probably cut this obvious line off as well. So let me get that done. Maybe just a tiny little bit more. And there's that one. I'm going to take some off of this edge as well. So now that leaves us with a piece that is 10.5 inches by 8.5. So just to kind of keep that in mind, I'm going to cut it in half at 5 1/4. And then I'm going to layer it down into an A2 size layer and see where I want to cut it. So 5 1/4 would be 4 inches for the other measurement. So there's one piece. And then I'm going to take a little bit off of each of these so that the text kind of falls off the page a little bit. Here, I'll show you in just a sec what I'm talking about. There. So now, those are the two pieces that I'm going to work with today. Well, I just don't know. Those are kind of interesting, aren't they? Let's see what they look like up on card base. Yep. So there's one. And here's the second one. Really needs a little black border around it, doesn't it? I think so too. So that means taking another 1/4 inch off. And I'm going to take it off of this side and I think this side. So we're going to come down to 5 by 3 3/4. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Now, I have some black panels over here. So this one needs to be trimmed down a little bit as well. And I think I'll take it off of this side. So I'll go down to 3 3/4. And this side, come down to 5. There we go. This is an interesting quote from his book. On at least 3 occasions, I have gone 4 days without eating. I know that because I've read the book. Bless his heart. He traveled around and had a big time. Now I'm talking about Louis L'Amour and The Wandering Man, which is what this book page comes from. That's an interesting card front right there. I like that. Very interesting page. So there's one, and then here's another one. And I think I might like it upside down better, but the bird is going the wrong way. So we're going to do it this way on both of these. And now the question is this: what do we do to finish it? Of course, we'll need a sentiment. Maybe some string around this one, I think. I'm going to glue this one down. I'm just going to use some tape runner on it because there's no... one of the nice things about making a copy of a masterboard is you get a nice fresh piece of paper that's not all warped for you. So that's something to keep in mind. And the nice thing about this twine, it came out of my mom's stash, and it doesn't raise your card up so much, which is kind of a nice thing to have in twine. Some like thicker twine, you have to put foam tape underneath of it, or have a bump. And this one seems to calm down pretty easily. So let's try to fix it the way we want it before we glue the front down. Double it up and bring it in and tie a little knot on it if I want to. And then cut my ends off of that. Okay. I'm gluing this one down to the front of this card base. And then we'll see what we're going to do for a focal point. That's a pretty cool card just by itself, with only a little, maybe simple sentiment on it. But I think we can add, I think I want to try some white flowers on that. Maybe this one, let me see. How large white scraps do I have? Maybe a little blue, because I still have some. Just a touch. Just a touch to tone it down. And a little bit on the centers. Let's see how we like that. It's a good way to use your ink on your blending brushes. Don't need complete coverage on these. Just see what we come up with. And glue them together. Let's see if we can, let's put a little shape on these if we can, just like that. That gives it just a little bit of textural interest as well, and doesn't take but just a second to do it with your tweezers like that. Let's see how much more interesting that looks than this. Oh yeah, just a little twist of your tweezer and you got something rocking there. There we go. Now let's glue them up and see what we got. Just put a little dabble of glue right there in the middle and put my larger flower down first. And then do another little dab of glue. And put my centers in. And then I will get my jewel picker and put it in my hand and put it in the center of that little flower and just press and give the whole thing a little bit of extra dimension that way. Plus, press those glued flowers in well. And now the only thing left to do is to figure out what kind of center we want on these flowers. And I'm thinking yellow, but let's put them on here and see what we think. Ooh. Yeah, I like them much better than the plain white, don't you? Yes, I do. It gives you a nice little flat surface to glue onto. So I'm going to try to kind of spread these around and not block my bird, because that's an interesting little addition to this card. And then we can flatten them down a little bit if we need to. And there we are. Now, let me see what I have in my gem stuff here. There's some large goldish ones. Those might work. And I've got skadooks of stuff around the studio. Let me see what else I got down here. These are some little die cuts that were left. Let's put a little star on those. See how that looks. Okay. I'm kind of liking that with the yellow. Let's try it and see. May still want to put a little gem in there. And just glue these little centers in. There's a right side up with these little stars. believe it or not. There we go. They have just a little tiny bit of embossing on them, like a sequins would, you know, because they're supposed to be sequins die cuts. And maybe a little sentiment from someplace would be good. I'm wondering if we still want a little tiny gem now. I think we'd try it because we're right here and so are they. There we go. A lot of people don't like gems, but I think they add a little sparkle and shine to your project, so I like them personally. Okay. Now let me see if I can get something out of my sentiment notebook. Oh, the earth laughs and flowers. That one might be good, huh? Let's see. I think so. Oh gosh, how easy was that? All right, do we want to put some blue on it? Let's just try it and see. I've got another one in there that I can pull out if we don't like it. Just a little partial maybe around like that. Yeah, I like it. I like that that pale blue. All right, I'm just going to put this down flat on the card. And that card's done. Using that background that we made. How fun is that? Yep, I like it. Okay, let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you again later. Bye, everybody. I'm going to save this card for another time. Don't really like that text right there, and I may just kind of glue over top of it. Have a great week, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.